No touching it for the next whole day. Think about it. What would be the reaction? Have you seen that happening to small children? You pull the, what is happening? What will happen to us? You want it back. You will do anything for that. So why am I asking you these three questions is the amount of dependence that we have on our gadgets. We are so dependent on that. Can I have the next slide? We are so dependent on technology. We are so dependent on the internet. We are so dependent on, for four things: for information, for communication, for entertainment, and for e-commerce. These are the four uses of technology. But what it has made is it has made us vulnerable. It has made us more, dependent. Why does it happen? Why? What is the? Let me start with. Can I have the next slide? I want to just go through the psychological impact, and then we'll come to why it becomes so. Why are we so dependent on that? Why do people? To the basics. I'm taking you to the basics. The psychological impact of dependence on gadget is tremendous. I think some of the senior people and my generation will understand this better. We all were dependent on maximum only one television at home, probably a black and white television. And we would watch one movie on a Sunday. And I just want us to remember how we watched that on Sunday. Everything is shut down. One television, one channel, one movie. But today, I'm not asking this question to the younger generation. I'm asking to the older generation. Today, multiple TVs, multiple channels, multiple movies, multiple shows. But how do we watch? Do we watch it with that same joy, same involvement? No, we are watching 4 or 5 channels at the same time. So the first psychological impact is, it hits us hard, is our ability to concentrate and sustain attention, and a span of attention is hit. So there are multiple such impact, and what happens is the cyber crime, experts in that area make use of this vulnerability of individuals. I'm just shifting gears now. I'm just shifting gears, and I'm going to put a photograph on the slide. Can you identify these people? The lower bottom part, I know you will. And MS Dhoni and PV Sindhu. Top. Yes, it is 2024 IAS topper, Civil Services Examination topper. Anybody knows his name? Tina Davi is 2015. This side? Aditya Srivatsava. Yeah, thank you. Very good. Excellent. Now the question that is there. What qualities do you think help them reach there? This is a question I want to ask you. Tell me what do you think, what are those qualities which help them reach there? Are people from sports here? Are people from academic excellence? Tell me. Consistency? Commitment? Yes. Concentration, excellence. Then? Confidence? Hard work, thank you. Determination? Discipline, that systematic hard work consistently put in. Excellent. Any other? Patience? come on. I hear a lot of answers. One or two more. Willpower, yes, thank you. Confidence, one more. Proper having a vision, proper vision and goal. Excellent. Wonderful. You all are giving me the right answers. But I want you to reflect on all these answers. There is something that is missing. Mindset. None of you said it is IQ or talent. I'm just shifting gears and bringing in this is an important point I want you to understand, and I link it to cyber challenges that we have. IQ and talent is not important, but EQ is more important. EQ drives your IQ. Having said that, can we go to the next slide? If that's the answer that has come to you, you see what is below the water level here, the iceberg illusion. Dedication, hard work, good habits, exact answers that you said. Can you have one more press, please? Can you press the button once more? This is exactly where behavioral addictions take a toll. Our good habits are lost. Our hard work gets affected. Our consistency gets affected. And that's the biggest challenge that we have. And that makes us vulnerable. Do you agree with me? When I sit to study, there is a pig on my phone. What will I do? Does it happen? It happens to me also. I start seeing a reel. So what happens? The next reel, one more. Then I realize, half an hour is gone. Just like that. So we are addicted. We are becoming more and more addicted. That is exactly what the designer wants. Capitalizing on my vulnerability, my addiction, the designer has designed it for me. That makes me the most vulnerable because I am dependent on my gadget. What else makes it interesting? Let me take a model. Next slide, please. The case of video games. How many of you, at one point of time, Candy Crush was the crush of the nation? Right? Why were we? I'm sure your mothers also and fathers are also addicted to it. I had seen in my practice, the older generation was much more hooked on to this Candy Crush. Can you imagine why it becomes so interesting for us and why we are dependent? Please understand the mindset of the user, how the designer is capturing on that. What is it? It is, they layer it with curiosity. Have you seen those soap operas in Hindi, which are at the end of the session or that day's episode, they will give you a hint of what will happen in the next episode. And what happens to all of us? There is that agitation builds in. Tomorrow what will happen? Then you realize that we are hooked onto that. So curiosity is a very important human trait, a cognitive curiosity or a sensorial curiosity. There are two kinds of curiosity that makes us vulnerable. So I'm talking to you from the user's perspective. And I also want to put all of us also in that boat because we are also in a way dependent on that and we are hooked on to these apps, etc. Right? So curiosity, and then there is fantasy. All these different characters that are created are so fantasize so well, like the Game of Thrones. We are all Okay, I have not watched it. So there is one person on this planet who has not watched that. But all of us were interested in that. So that is the fantasy that it created. And of course, it gives you a challenge. When you have ended the game, there is somebody has ended with 2,000 points more. Then you are feeling challenged. Then you want to get into it more. So do you realize these are things that make us more and more vulnerable to become dependent? Let me add a couple of more things. How do you post on Instagrams? Okay, good. I don't have an Instagram account. Facebook, I'm on Facebook. How do we post on our day-to-day activities? And then we will edit all those. We'll make the pictures a little more nicer and put on that, isn't it? And we are also Facebook stalkers. We may not post regularly, but we will go and check what the others are doing. Right? How do we look at that? Why do we post only happy ones, happy pictures? What do I feel when I see somebody post a happy picture? Please understand that there are our own anxieties, there are our own vulnerabilities, there are our own low self-esteem issues. The minute I have who are more prone to bullying, whether it is cyberbullying or whether it is offline bullying. If I'm vulnerable, why do I become vulnerable? I have low levels of self-esteem, self-image, or I'm not assertive enough. So I want you to see what makes us vulnerable. Can I take 5 minutes more? What do we do? So how do we take, next slide, please. I'll take in, this makes it, one more. Yeah. One more slide, please, next slide. The question is, how can I help myself? I want to, since I'm seeing a lot of students here, I'll just take 5 minutes more to talk about how you can help yourself, how I can help myself. If I have a dependency on, gadgets. First thing is, can I have the next slide? Self-analysis. Can you press, please? As I told you, we use technology. Second, there is misuse of technology. I can use technology for the wrong purposes, maybe gambling, maybe porn, etc. There is also the third point, which is abuse. Abuse is overuse of technology and also using it in a damaging way so that it damages. So these, I have to analyze which spectrum I am. Am I using it? Yes, we cannot live without technology. We need to use it judiciously. But I need to also check whether I am misusing it or abusing it too. And check out on certain red flag behaviors. This is the last slide I'll put in. And what affects the community as of students is the second one. You remember that iceberg I talked to you about? What is affecting there? All that ingredients that is important for EQ is getting hit at, and therefore the second one, my productivity comes down, and that's because I'm going towards more of procrastination. So it is possible to help ourselves, and it is possible to bring in the discipline by adopting certain mindful browsing. So I'll stop here and I'll take questions from all of you. You can close the PPT, sir. Yeah, here somebody has. Yes. So you wanted to, yeah, please tell me.
Ma'am, so humans by nature are hedonistic and they seek pleasure out of everything. We want the dopamine rush. So we think of addiction as, okay, if I let this go, my problems are solved. But I view addiction differently. I let this go, I cross addict, I go to a different thing after that. Because I've noticed this. I delete Instagram, I go to something like Snapchat. I delete Snapchat, I go to a book maybe. I start avoiding things, I procrastinate. So how does one attack cross addiction and not only addiction in itself?
What you're doing is that hedonistic pleasure that you're telling, you're moving from one to another one. You're not actually dealing with you're not coping with the addiction. You're actually changing the course of your addiction. So what you need to think of is, how do I cut off this addiction itself? And for that, what we do now is what is called as mindful browsing. For mindfulness, I have a small exercise that I give my people, my participants. I give them, a raisin, and I ask them I just give it in their hands. I distribute raisins to students or participants. The minute they get their raisins in their hand, the immediate action is to put it in the mouth and, that's the reaction. So whatever comes, I just want to get done with it. So then I tell, I'm going to give you another raisin. Now when you use that raisin, look at it, smell it, put it in your mouth, taste it, and think of from where it has come. Delay the process of eating it. Use all the sensorial options that are there. The second time when they do it, they find it more enjoyable and more tasty. So the same mindfulness, I request you, because we all want to enjoy. You're right. We are hedonistic. We want to enjoy. Whatever you're doing, enjoy. If you have an Instagram, be mindful about it and enjoy. You had a good day. Take those pictures, post it, enjoy it. And go slow on the process. Slow down. That's the first thing. Second is what we call as digital detox. In terms of zones, there should be some zones in the house where you don't have gadgets. You don't have access to gadgets, especially when eating. This is what I say. When you're watching television, don't keep multiple things and or when you're eating, keep all these things away, enjoy the process of eating. So have digital detox zones or times. So between 6 to 8 is my family time. I will not use it. So whatever you have, enjoy it. This jumping from one to one happens because you're not enjoying that process. You're not enjoying the present. You want to go fast. That doesn't help. I hope I have answered your query. There's one person who's at the end.
Well, my question is that how do you implement mindful scrolling? Like, what are the few things that we can implement easily in our day-to-day life that would actually have a long-term effect than a short-term solution?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I always say, I work with youngsters. I work with a lot of youngsters like you. I work with a lot of homemakers too, where we are hooked on to that's dependence. I wouldn't say it is addiction, but we are hooked on to that. Small changes, what I call as minor changes, can have major impact. One of the things that your apps, your Android phones have a method of identifying how many minutes have you spent during the day. Do you have that? Yeah. We did an experiment with college students and we monitored how many minutes I spent in doing what. how much of time on Facebook, how much of time on Instagram, how much of time actually studying. So one of the ways in which is to build your awareness as to what you're doing, because we don't do it mindfully. We just, when reels comes in, as I was telling you, you scroll from one to another and half an hour is gone. So what we are doing is we are getting a feedback about how much time we are spending on each of these gadgets. That is deeply helpful because we all have a compass here. We don't need any external, person to tell us. We all have a compass within us which will tell us, hey, that's too much. You need to bring it. So activating that and watching that. The other things could be, small cues that you give yourself. Put your goals on the, in your room or on your gadget which you're using. Put a reminder. No, browsing between 6 to 8. This is my me time. We sometimes need these cueing, which is important. I'll give you some small tips that my students have told me, which has worked for them. Point number one is the student was telling me, I don't use alarm from the cell phone. I have brought a proper alarm and I've kept a proper old time alarm instead of a phone. Because the minute the phone rings, I will start browsing in the morning, first thing in the morning. Or I don't charge this is an IIT Delhi student who told me, I don't charge my phone at all in the night. Because if I have examinations next day or 2 days later, today I won't charge. Deliberately, I won't charge my phone. Or I'll put, all the notifications will be off. Or I put it on airplane mode. These are small, this is what I say, and this is, it's not me telling, this is what students have told me and which has worked from them. I'm just sharing it with you. So we are not yet addicted to it, but we are dependent on it. But we can activate small things, small minor changes in the way we engage with it and go for maximum benefit. Over a period of time, we'll strengthen the process. It doesn't happen overnight. Don't expect it to happen overnight. Oh, from tomorrow, I will not use my cell phone at all. That doesn't happen. We need to use it, learn to use it more judiciously. And we need to train ourselves. Any other question? Any other question? Anybody else?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, we see that the older generation, even though they use less technology or the usage is less compared to the younger generation, even they are subjected to the cyber crimes.
Yes.
So how is their psychology affected?
Their psychology affected or how they become vulnerable?
How they become vulnerable?
They become vulnerable. Thank you for that question. Can you think of the mindset of an elderly person? Think from the shoes of, put yourselves in the shoes of the elderly person. What do you think are their biggest concerns or their biggest issue that bothers them? Loneliness, right? Fear that there will be nobody for them. Fear that there's also distrust in the family around. The crime person who is engaged in the crime are very shrewd. They will understand who this person is, what is bothering this person. And we all have a digital trail. We all have a digital footprint. So they will map the person's vulnerability. And the elderly, one thing is, think of it, I'm a digital immigrant. I'm not a digital native. So I had to unlearn many things to learn what is currently how to use it. I'm still learning it. So I am still picking up the skill. So I don't know, I'm not as savvy as the digital native. So that makes me more vulnerable. I am not, and I don't understand the programming of the entire gadget. I don't know the loopholes, but the criminal knows that. I also have a digital footprint in my Facebook or my emails or something. So that makes me more vulnerable and deeply as a as an elderly, I have security concerns, I have fear, I have mistrust, I have anxieties. So I become more vulnerable to the crime. All this adds together and it makes it vulnerable. So that's why what we post, our digital footprint has to be, we have to do it very carefully. We should do that. So psychoeducation training the older people is very important. I hope I answered your question. I think there's one, that's the last question, I think. We need to wind up. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, I just wanted to raise a question regarding the algorithm. So when we are using our phones, let me say social media for some educational purposes, and after some time you get the algorithm just shows the stuff you are interested in. So and then you are usually diverted. And this is not an internal fact, like it's not my thing, but it's the external affector. So how can you manage or cope up with this?
I think you need to understand the program. Why is it, probably I am not the right person to answer this question, but I'm being aware as a person that there is something which is mapping me into and boxing me into certain slots, that I'm the one who visits these slots. Itself makes me vulnerable. If I buy certain clothes, then I get the similar kind of advertisements online. So I need to be clever enough to understand, and I'm not the right person to tell it, but there are ways in which you can shut it down and make the choices without leaving a print. I cannot answer this because I don't do any online shopping, etc. But I know it makes you vulnerable, because I'll give you an example of one of the students in very premier schools in Bangalore. The school had asked the students to do a project on White House. Okay, White House, what it is, who lives there, and all those, what shall I say, the architecture of White House and the presidents who lived there, all those things. But there's a porn site which has similar ID. And it will take you with one click, if you miss out on something, immediately it takes you there. So 2-3 children in that school went into that website. And then they shared this with many other students, and the whole class watched this website. So it is, then the school came to know, and we had to not just talk to them about how to, we have to talk to the parents also, how to protect your children, how to put all those, firewalls, etc. Do that. But I want you to understand that whoever is designing it very cleverly to make us more and more vulnerable, to box us more and more into patterns. If you are interested in any documentary, then I suggest you watch The Social Dilemma, which is on Netflix. It's a wonderful, which probably will answer the question that you have asked. The Social Dilemma, it is on Netflix. Please watch it. I would like to end by only one point. As a behavioral scientist, get back to human connect. While technology is wonderful, human connect is far enriching and much more, growth-inducing. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope I've done some justice to today's conference. Thank you so much. And all the best to all my students.
I want to express my gratitude to Professor Dr. Shailaja Shastri, our esteemed guest and psychology expert. Her talk on the intriguing link between cybersecurity and psychology has truly opened our eyes to a whole new aspect of online safety. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your humble wisdom with us today. Your insight has given us a deeper understanding of cybersecurity, reminding us of how important human behavior is for staying safe online. Thank you. Now the students who have attended the cybersecurity workshop by Indian Institute of Public Administration organized at IS Officer Association, I request you all to kindly come and take the certificates. All together. Once, yes, yes. I request Manoj sir to kindly come on the stage and give me certificates.
Please come first. Come first. No need to be ordered.
The essay competition winners on the topic apprehensions of the 21st century and solutions proposed by Gandhi and Roth. The first winner, Harini from second BLLB. I kindly request you to come onto the stage. Second winner, Gagan, first LLB. And the third winner, Saujanya from first BLLB. As we draw near to the conclusion of this remarkable gathering, I have the distinct honor and privilege to invite to the podium an exceptional individual whose remarkable contributions have been the cornerstone of today's proceedings. So,
Very good afternoon to all of you. You've been here since morning and you've been a very good audience. I hope you'll bear with me for a couple of minutes while I propose the vote of thanks. At the outset, for our last resource person, Dr. Shailaja, I'm sorry we had to put you last, because the theme was cybersecurity, public policy and the law, and we thought we'd get the experts to speak about it and then give you a lot of time to interact with the audience. Dr. Shailaja Shastri, who, as you know, is the Director of Research at your course, BENGALURU, as of now. She has a very illustrious early career. She's been introduced, I won't go into all of that. But let me, on behalf of the two organizations, one, the KLE Law College, and the Karnataka Regional Branch of the IIPA thank Dr. Shailaja Shastri for making it convenient, despite a busy schedule, to come and be with us and to share her thoughts with you on what we think is a very important area connected with cybersecurity, cybercrime and all that, the addiction to gadgets, addiction to internet. And I think she did an excellent job of navigating us through all those temptations that particularly you, not so much me as you on the other side of the age divide, are facing, the problems that you're facing, and how you could use behavioral psychology to be able to come out of those addictions. But Shailaja did an excellent job, and I'm sure you will have requests from them to come and speak to them more often, to share perhaps more intimate experiences with you. On behalf of the organizers, we have little tokens for you. We thank you once again for your time, and a small token of appreciation for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have as chair of the session the chairman of the Karnataka Regional Branch of the Indian Institute of Public Administration, Mr. P.M. Vijayavaskar. On your behalf, let me thank him for being with us the entire day, despite again his schedule, and for acting as the beacon light for activities that we are doing on behalf of the branch, collaborating with institutions like KLE Law College, for continuing to guide us. Thank you very much for being with us. To the principal of KLE Law College, Professor Mallikarjunaya, we owe that debt of gratitude. Not so much because of the excellent facilities that have been provided by this institution, but for continuing to collaborate with us, for giving us ideas on how we could bring our resource persons over to this college, and for responding to our and for ensuring that we're able to see through whatever he has visualized in a very meaningful fashion. So on behalf of all of you, let me thank your principal, Professor J.M. Mallikarjunaya. In the same breath, let me also thank your vice principal. I noticed that she was here in the morning. Dr. Manoj was again with us as the dean. Other faculty members of KLE Law College. Dr. Madhusudan, I think is also here somewhere. Thank you very much. You've all played individual but important roles in ensuring that this workshop goes on as successfully as possible. To members of the IIPA who are here as special invitees, thank you very much. We sent our invitations to other colleges also. We had a good response from Mahe, Bangalore. I saw Dr. Prashant in the morning. The team from Mahe, Bangalore, there's a public policy batch from there which came here. I saw them in the morning, perhaps they're here also. Thank you very much for coming. From BMS Law College, I'm told there was a small team that came here. Thank you also for being here. To Dr. Sujata from Vidhi Government First Grade College, thank you for being with us today. To the staff of IIPA, Rupa, Gururaj, thank you. To a constant person who's always with us, Deepak Srinivas, he's a research officer with us in IIPA. Sugara from the IIPA, thank you very much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, this whole program has taken place thanks to the initiative from one of your very popular faculty members, Dr. Chaitra Prasad. I know we can make out that he's a very popular teacher, but let me also take some pride and credit in telling you that he's a product of the Department of Political Science, Bangalore University. He was my student of political science. That's point number one. Point number two, thanks to Chaitra Prasad, I was able, as director of the Center for Gandhian Studies, to start a diploma course in Gandhian Studies, and he played a big role in doing that. That's point number two. Point number three, Chaitra Prasad comes back to me, wanting me to be his research supervisor, and he did an excellent job of completing his doctoral thesis with me. Thank you, Chaitra Prasad. For all of you, and particularly on the occasion of this workshop, because he came to us and told us that you have this paper. called Cybersecurity Law and Public Policy. And would we, on behalf of the IFPA, be able to replicate what we did at the IAS Officers Association a few months ago? And I think we've been able to do that remarkably well. Although there were some glitches, we were not able to start on time. We apologize for that. Point number two, we got you good resource persons and we gave them half an hour and said, like, try to finish within half an hour. But obviously, they had so much to say that we overshot the time factor. All of you had many more questions I could make out. My advice to Chaitra Prasad and to the principal would be, perhaps you may like to invite each of these people, including Dr. Shailaja, separately, and ensure that we give them at least an hour to speak, and you have a lot of time for discussion. If that kind of luxury could be given, perhaps all of you would be very satisfied with what we have attempted to do today. Let me not forget to thank your anchor lady, Ritika Tripathi, who's been doing an excellent job. Excellent job, thank you. And let me also, for the record, thank each of those who were identified here as part of the program, who introduced each of our resource persons. Shubhashri, thank you. Ananya, thank you. Ritu, Bharat, thank you. Falguni, thank you. And Divya, thank you. This is good training ground for all of you to come up to the stage and do little bits for all of us. So with these words, as the Secretary of the Regional Branch, I thank you once again from the bottom of our hearts for being such a good audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeevan sir. I know this is a little unprofessional on my side, but I would still love to thank you for your unwavering dedication and your invaluable contributions. I would love to call Dr. Chaitra Prasad sir, MD, to honor Jeevan sir with moment. From the start of the day, you've been present and gained valuable insights. I trust this workshop has been beneficial and we eagerly anticipate collaborating with IIPA in the future. I want to express my gratitude to the fantastic audience who have contributed to the success of this event. Let's give them a round of applause then. I am Ritika Tripathi, your host for today's event, officially signing off. Until our paths cross again in another informative event, take care. Certificates will be for the delegates and students coming from other universities. The certificates will be issued at the registration. Students of KLE, the certificates will be issued after the feedback tomorrow via your class teachers. Apart from that, tea and coffee are arranged on the fourth floor for everyone. And I kindly request everyone to stand up for nation anthem. Volunteers of this event, I kindly request you to come on the stage. Others can leave. Thank you. Volunteers of this event, kindly come on the stage.
ವಿಶ್ವ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಹೋಗು. Stop, quick. ಅದು. I got it. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.